Hi, I'm Ed Moschetti from Control Specialties. Let's take a few minutes and talk about a serious problem in a lot of plants which results from water getting into compressed air systems. When we produce compressed air, let's say at an operating pressure of 100 pounds per square inch, which is typical in most applications, what we're really doing is taking 8 volumes of air and compressing to 1. As you can see in this graphic here, if we take this small amount of volume of water, which is present always in air, and compress it, essentially we get an effect which looks like this. Make believe this is a cubic foot of air, and I'm going to go ahead and compress it 8 times, and the net result is I wind up with a large amount of water which is now trapped inside the piping system and has to be eliminated. Over the last 75 to 100 years, there have been a number of devices that have been put together to solve this problem, essentially called automatic drain traps. The oldest and most elementary types are drain traps which operate on the basis of either a float or a bucket moving up and down to discharge water out from the compressed air and essentially keep the system clear. The problem with these units is they're very susceptible to plugging up because there's very small passages and holes inside the units. The next evolution was were called timer drains and are still used in many plants because they're relatively inexpensive. Timer drains depend upon your being able to do 2 things. To set one timer on the number of times a solenoid valve will open and close, and set a second timer on the duration. So what we're trying to accomplish to get the water out of an air system is to determine how frequently this valve has to blow and how long. Even if you're able to set this up for, let's say, an example today, and humidity changes tomorrow, the timer drain is either going to be set to blow and waste air or back up water in the system. The net result is they're always set wide and they waste a horrendous amount of air. The product that we've had the most success with is by a small company called Drainall. Drainall is made up of just a few very simple components. A float, which has a magnetic snap-acting valve, which opens when the float is up and closes when the float is down. A spring return air cylinder, a full-size ball valve, and then an inlet air filter to just simply keep water and moisture out of this unit. So the operation of the unit is really very simple. When this unit has got no condensate to the unit, the float is in a down position, the ball valve is closed. This condensate flows into the unit from the air system, the float rises up, the snap-acting magnetic valve opens up a spring return air cylinder, this opens up a full-size port, a ball valve, and all the debris and water and so on are discharged. The float drops back down, the unit closes off. Drainall has actually got a clear, semi-clear housing around the unit so you can see what's inside the unit. The top and bottom of the unit and the actual unit are made out of aircraft-grade aluminum. And there's also a small button valve on the top here where you can, if you wish, depress it and make sure the unit is operating, which essentially is a manual test of the unit. There are a number of components used to dry the air before it's finally sent out into your facility for use. Starting with the air compressor, we've got an aftercooler, then separators and air receivers, and then either refrigerator dryers or desiccant type dryers. So each of these points, as shown by a little my blue square, you should really be using a Drainall to take care of that accumulated moisture. Installation of the Drainall unit is really very simple. Let's take an air receiver. The Drainall unit itself can be placed directly on the floor. On the back of the unit there's a 1-inch connection which is used to pipe into the air receiver. Bring a 1-inch line to the inlet side of the unit. Bring a compressed air line down to the unit to operate and power the unit, and a balance connection to equalize the pressure inside there. If you're plagued with problems with water in your compressed air system, Drainall is a great solution. Thank you for listening.